Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome April Yao.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Hi. Oh, that's backwards. So when I was trying to decide on a topic to talk about tonight, I was thinking, okay, well, what can I talk about? What's going to be really interesting? You don't need to hear about why you need to have a LinkedIn profile, why it needs to be optimized. If you have a business, you know that it should be SEO friendly. We don't want to talk about that. I couldn't really decide on what I wanted to do, so what did I do? I went onto Facebook naturally, procrastinated for a bit. Really bad idea. If you already have anxiety, going on social media makes it even worse. So now I'm sitting there freaking out. I'm like, okay, fuck, what am I gonna do? And then it came to me. So today, I'm gonna talk about something that I personally struggle with quite a bit. I don't think it's something that is, just for me. I think a lot of people have gone through this. It's something that I don't really talk about a lot with others because, quite frankly, I was kind of embarrassed about it. But when I did finally have the courage to talk to other people about it, the look on their face was like this big sigh of relief, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I do exactly the same thing. I think exactly the same way. I've said exactly the same thing to myself. And it's this idea of perfectionism. So perfectionism, we often think that it's this positive word. Why wouldn't we? We're trying to achieve perfection. Essentially, usually perfectionists, are very high achievers. But let's go a bit further into the word. Doesn't this picture look amazing? It's so perfect, right? The way it's all cut up, even the symmetry of the lattes, everything is completely perfect. The kiwis, everything. I took this from this blog, it's called Symmetrical Breakfasts. It gave me a lot of peace, that's it. Who in the audience would consider themselves a perfectionist? Okay, so I would say at least half. So as you know, being a perfectionist, you're probably like a high achiever. You strive for excellence. You can probably make something amazing like this. So these are all very positive things, right? Let's take a look at the word perfectionism. So it's funny because when I Googled this, almost every single search result was talking about anxiety and stress management and how psychology today is saying that this is the worst thing. So this is what the Journal of Personality Assessment defines it as. A personality trait characterized by a person striving for flawlessness and setting excessively high performance standards, accompanied by overly critical self-evaluations and concerns. Doesn't really sound that positive anymore, right? For this, we've all kind of been here before. When you go into that interview and they ask you what is one of your faults, you want to give them that fault that isn't really a fault. It's like that positive fault. So you go, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. I like to get things done and want to make things perfect, but sometimes it takes a really long time for me to get things done. I know that's exactly how I am, and it is still actually a fault that I constantly deal with. Hi, my name's April. I'm a perfectionist. Actually, to be a bit more honest about it, I am more so a recovering perfectionist. So I say this because I fall off the wagon all the time. I mean, even in this presentation, ask any of my work colleagues, my family, I fucking freaked out. I had an anxiety attack twice yesterday, twice again today. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I thought the stage was gonna be raised, so I thought I was gonna fall off the stage. I'm like, and it's gonna be recorded. What if I fall off? It's gonna be one of those GIFs where it's like repeated. Fuck. Well, so I decided, you know what, this is what I want to talk about. Social comparisons are always so prevalent. Digital media, specifically social media, has intensified this. Because you can always go on social media. For example, the other day, not even the other day, let's say a few months ago, I'm 28, I had an amazing week at work. All my clients are super happy, killed the presentation, increased this amount of sales, everything is amazing. You're really kicking ass in my career. I felt so good about myself. And then I go on Instagram or Facebook, I can't remember what it was, And then you see something that kind of tears you down. And you think, no matter what you have, there's always going to be someone that has more. There's always going to be something else that you haven't done yet. I like the example of what Brené Brown had actually talked about. I don't know if you guys have heard of Brené Brown before. She's an amazing person. The Power of Vulnerability TED Talk, my absolute favorite. Watched over 17 million, not me 17 million times, but it has been watched. Probably close to that number by now anyways. But she talks about how you don't compare yourself to people that are nothing like you. You compare yourself to people that are very similar to you. So for example, your condo or your house, you don't compare your condo to like the mansions in West Van. You compare your condos to the people in either your social network or in your house, or sorry, in your building or in your neighborhood. You compare because you want to be alike, but you also want to be better than them. So it's this really dangerous game. So I talked about going on social media. So when I was on this very high of a moment, right? I was on social media and I was feeling really awesome. And then I look on social media and then I see my friend teaching yoga in Costa Rica. And I'm like, okay, am I supposed to be here? Like, why am I not doing that? That looks pretty rad. You know, this is her classroom. This is what she wakes up to every day. Why am I not doing this? And then these feelings and these thoughts become, am I doing the right thing? Am I where I'm supposed to be? You know, so-and-so from high school is now owning her own business and fucking kicking ass. This other person who's 3 years younger than me is getting married and has the first kid. And I'm like, okay, and here I am just loving my life because I have this job. You start to feel really inadequate. And I think I wanted to talk about this because I think, especially in our generation, especially being a part of the company of young professionals, we're these high overachievers. I shouldn't say everyone's an overachiever, but I would say we're very high achievers, and it's something that we constantly struggle with. So I want to kind of tie this all in. To help illustrate these points, I'm going to talk about April when she was 21. So April, at the age of 21, wanted to go into pharmacy. Well, that's not exactly true. So I didn't really want to go into pharmacy. At the time, I thought so. I wanted to really prove my mom that I could be something. I wanted her to be proud of me. Coming from an Asian family, it's ingrained in your mind that you're either going to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, something of that nature. Anything else is not okay. So of course, I did all my prerequisites, went and took my PCAT and everything, and I decided that I wanted to go traveling. Because now my exams are finished, I submitted all my applications and everything, so I had a couple months to kill, so I thought, 21, sweet, I'm gonna go use my student loans and go on a trip. So I did. Typical trip for your 20s, you go to Australia and Thailand. Amazing. Absolutely, 100%. Really recommend that people go traveling on their own. I think you really learn a lot about yourself. Another thing that typically happens in your early 20s is that you go traveling and you fall in love with an Australian. You laugh because you know someone who has done that. So I go on this trip, falling in love, thinking I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this person. I come back from my trip and I think, okay, well, I just applied for pharmacy school. I'm setting up my life right now, right? So let's just see where this goes. I applied to a school in Australia anyways, just in case. I mean, you never know, super long shot, but why not? So I come back from my trip and I do all my interviews. I wanted to get into UBC. Didn't get in. I thought, fuck, now what? I've been spending the past 3 years trying to get into this school. What am I going to do now? What is everyone going to think of me? I've been, really pushing for this. I think I left for Thailand thinking like, fuck you, I'm done. Exams are finished. I'm going to go off and lollygag and then come back and, start my life. But I felt like a complete failure. I've been working for this for 3 years and everyone's looking at me and I'm like, and as you know, social media, it's all over Facebook. So everyone sees all your photographs and stuff. They know exactly what you're doing at all times. They know what I'm eating. They know what I'm not eating. They know what I'm thinking. So I felt like it was a complete failure. I was pretty low. Then a couple months pass, and then I get this letter. Curtin University, Perth. Lo and behold, I got in. Pharmacy school, Australia. I'm like, sweet. This love of my life lives across the globe. I can finally go be with them. It's meant to be. I did get into school here. I got into school over there. This person I'm supposed to be with is over there. I'm going to go over there, start my life, start my dream. It's absolutely perfect. Who doesn't want to live on a beach, right? Isn't that what our whole goal is, to like live somewhere tropical? So this dream was all coming to fruition. All of my stars are starting to come up, were becoming aligned. Well, I'm here now, so you can probably guess that didn't work out. 21 years old, you don't really know, well, you may know a lot about yourself, but I didn't. Well, I thought I did, but clearly I didn't. So I had this terrible breakup. And it's not like any breakup. I think we've all had that one breakup that really rips you to shreds. You know, rips out your heart, tears it to shreds, throws it on the ground, dances all over it. Like that one that you just completely fucking breaks you. Not only that, but then I realized that I hated chemistry. And I was like, are you kidding? So here I am, alone in Australia. I mean, of course you have your school friends there, right? You meet your school friends, but you don't have anyone of really depth because you haven't known them for longer than 6 months. So now I'm there, and this perfect dream is now turned into a fucking nightmare. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Again, it's all over social media. I left thinking, peace out, I'm out. Like, see us, Vancouver. Like, this is, I couldn't get further away from Vancouver. I just thought my life belonged in Australia. I was in a super, super low part of my life. Didn't have a lot of really deep friends or anything like that. Of course, like, again, I met friends there, but I didn't really know how to deal with it. I fell into deep depression. So I started to, you know, think about how bad my life was. Failure. Again, it was a high and then a low, high and then a low. I failed my mom. I failed my then boyfriend. I failed myself. I failed my relationship. I failed everything. As a perfectionist, there wasn't anything worse that I could do, anything worse that I could be. I was just an utter failure, complete and utter failure. At this point, again, now I'm about 20, I think, 22 maybe. Very old, very wise. I'm starting to think, okay, what can I do? Now I'm in bed for like, you know, the 15th day in a row. I can't get myself out of there. So I start to do what most 21 or 22 years do. Start to drink. Numb the pain, right? You know this. You numb the pain because you don't want to feel it anymore. I thought, you know what? That's it. I've had enough. I'm so over this life, but I'm gonna drink. So this was actually part of one of my darkest periods of my life. I was super depressed. I numbed with drugs and alcohol. I still maintained good grades, so no one really knew that I was going through this because I was so worried about what people would think about me. I had to keep this perfect exterior of this, you know, perfect girlfriend or perfect friend, perfect student, perfect everything. It was so deeply ingrained that I needed to have this idea of perfection. Until I met my friend Lauren. I always tell her that she's like my savior because she saw me for me. She didn't judge me for all my crazies. You know when you break up with your ex, you start checking their Facebook or like their Instagram and you start to see what they're up to. Don't look at me like I'm crazy because I know you guys have all done the same thing, okay? But she started seeing me for me. She made me realize who I was as a person, that I wasn't really defined by my failures. You're not. If anything, they make you just stronger. She made me be okay with my accomplishments, my quirks, my crazies. Again, I mentioned these crazies because they were roaring. She made me be okay with being there again. So I stuck it out for the remainder of the year. And when I came home, I thought, okay, I need to start living for me. What I realized is that I was living for everyone else. I moved to Australia because I wanted to be with this person. I joined the gym and joined MMA fighting and boxing and stuff because I wanted to be more like this other person. I went to pharmacy school because I wanted to do this for my mom. I didn't want to do it for me. So I came home thinking, that's it. What do you want to do? April Yao, what do you want to do as a person? So I did some milling about trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I ended up going into marketing. Now you think that marketing and pharmacy are very, very unrelated, right? But if you think about it, Pharmacy is very analytical, lots of numbers and everything, and so is digital marketing. With analytics, Big Brother's watching, I can see what you're doing kind of thing. So there's graphs, Excel. Excel is my best friend. It's very analytical, so there's actually a good crossover. The reason why I tell you this story and why I'm telling you all this stuff is because I want you to understand that everyone has their own story and to not to be ashamed by it. Look at this guy in his fucking bunny suit. Who even knows what he's doing, but he's probably having a great time. But I want to share with you this story because I think the more that we share, the better we feel because we know that we're not alone. And with that being said, we're all in this struggle together. And I want you to see that social media is this microscope of should. So we've all heard this saying, don't shit on yourself, right? Social media exemplifies this whole thing. It tells you exactly what you should be eating, what you should be wearing, what you should look like, who you should be. It's all these things of what you should be doing. And it's a scary thing. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's done some incredible things as well. If you look at social media, and I talk about social media today because I know it's not the only part of digital marketing, but social media is, I think, the one thing that really affects us most. But if you look at social media, it's done some incredible things. I mean, never ever have we been a more connected world, and never ever have our consumers had the power of voice. Every single person's voice is important. So the next one was actually about how social media talks about this microscope should and how it intensifies these feelings of inadequacy. So I mentioned how no matter how I'm feeling and how great I feel, I can look at social media and then it makes us feel like we're not worthy. And this is, again, something that we're dealing on a daily basis. I don't think there's anyone in this room who hasn't felt anxiety or felt bad about themselves after looking at that. Brene Brown, as I mentioned before, talks about how comparison is all about conformity and competition. So they seem like they're mutually exclusive. They seem quite opposite, actually. But if you think about it, when you are comparing yourself, again, you're not comparing yourself to someone that is completely different than you. You're comparing yourself to like individuals. And then you want to be better than them. So it's like fitting in, but being better than the rest. So it's this fine line. Where is that line of being just like everyone else, but just a little bit better? Look at these two guys. I mean, me, I was always this guy. Not like I was playing football, but I was always a smaller person. But you don't compare yourself to the NFL players or anyone else in like the national sports. You compare yourself to people that are in your league. I think it's a really hard thing because I'm sure in this room we have some very accomplished people. But then we start comparing ourselves. I looked at LinkedIn and I'm like, oh, this person was only there for a year and they got moved up there. How come I'm not there yet? So I want you to understand that this is where I work, success marketing. I am so fortunate to be working here. And through this presentation, you're probably thinking, April, you are working in digital marketing, so you're contributing to the cause. And you're kind of right, except for the fact that I would never, ever help market something that I don't believe in. At Success, I'm so grateful to be working for our bosses because every single person that works there lives by these rules, by these values. Ethics and integrity are paramount. So we would never take on a client that we don't believe in. We would never do something that we wouldn't be absolutely honest about. And I think that's really important because in this world of marketing, there's all these skewed images of all this fakeness. Like our founders, for example, John, he's on the North Shore Rescue. He literally saves lives and comes into work. We call him our superhero. And then we have Chris, who has this amazing personality, who really genuinely cares about us. And he picked up and moved to New York to open up that office. So it trickles all the way down. And I say this because I work in this marketing world where authenticity is very rare. But I'm so grateful to be working for a company like Success that really believes in all of our clients. Never ever have we ever had the power of voice. Bloggers, social influencers, Instagrammers are the most sought after. It's not even just celebrities anymore. You have bloggers on the front row of New York Fashion Week. From the social component, the Arab Spring. Crazy, right? A revolution before our very eyes. Ice Bucket Challenge. We raised $100 million for ALS. Without social media, there's absolutely no way that could have been done. So we understand that social media is this powerful tool, but we also have to understand that it sometimes creates this craziness inside of our brains and brings out those inner demons. I want everyone to take out their phone. So I want you to shine your light at me, or at least show me your screen and have it lit up if you agree with any of the following statements. If you've ever talked shit to yourself. A lot. If you ever felt like a failure. Compared yourself to someone else. You know, you should be taller, thinner, stronger, more beautiful, longer hair, whatever. Felt completely lost and worthless. And my own personal favorite, when you have that really daunting task, but you're so scared to start it because you don't know how to finish it. As a perfectionist, you have to have this clear path from start to finish, or you don't start it. I see people nodding. Oh, missed that one. Not living up to your expectation. And this is the one I was talking about, my personal favorite. The procrastination leading to anxiety. And then all of a sudden you have this anxiety that you're not doing this task, but you're procrastinating about this task, and you have anxiety about procrastinating, and all of a sudden you're in this spiral of shame, and you're like, fuck, just do it, just take that leap. So you saw that everyone had their lights up, right? We're not in this alone. We're all struggling the same fight. The struggle is real. We're all here. I think it's really important for us to understand that, because why are we comparing ourselves so much? Why do we have these social comparisons? Why do we care? And now I'm not telling you that I'm this master at perfection, no. I'm not telling you that I'm this master of all of these skills. I'm just gonna leave you with 3 things that I have found through my work with my life coach and through some work with just introspective journey that I found have been really helpful. And I say this because, again, I freaked out like 10 minutes even before I stood up here, asked these guys. I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna remember all this stuff. So I'm gonna leave you with 3 things. Number 1, self-compassion. If your girlfriend or boyfriend or brother or sister or cousin or loved one or friend came up to you and said, fuck, I just lost a client today, or I did really bad in my exam, or I didn't get into the graduate school that I wanted to, or you messed up on a report, would you tell them they are a failure, that they suck, that they're a loser? No. You would probably never say the things that you say to yourself to anybody else. If you did, you'd be like, that stuck-up bitch. So I'd be like, wow, why are you saying that? It wouldn't make any sense. So why is that okay to say that to yourself? The talk that you have with yourself is so important, but yet it's the worst talk that you have, guaranteed, with any person. And the fight against yourself, there's no winner. There's only losers. There's no one to protect you from yourself but you. Secondly, gratitude. Someone out there is so happy with much less than you. I was in Costa Rica for a yoga retreat like last year, and these kids had absolutely nothing. All they were doing was kicking around this soccer ball, this really old soccer ball. And they'd run up and go, Pura Vida, which means essentially like live life, love life. And they're so happy there. Costa Rica is actually rated one of the happiest countries in the world. So be grateful for what you have. We live in Vancouver, this beautiful city. I mean, if you can't be grateful for your friends, your family, your job, your money, whatever it is, at least be grateful that we live in a city where we're not freezing our asses off, where the rest of the nation is covered in snow. Lastly, stop giving a fuck. Mark Manson, I'm not sure if you guys have ever read that article of his, but he talks about not giving a fuck. Because why do you care what the stranger across the street is thinking about you? Why do you care about all these people that you don't know, what they're thinking, what they want from you? Why does it matter? All that matters is what you want. Who cares? So do whatever it is that makes you happy. Go climb a mountain. You live in Vancouver, go climb the Chief. Go to yoga class, go to the gym, do whatever it is Just do you. Happiness is a choice. That's one thing that I learned. You can wake up and choose to be happy, or you can wake up to choose to be grumpy. If you're unhappy, change your mind. The one thing you have to know is that happiness is a choice and that you're definitely worthy of it. So next time you feel shitty about yourself, think about how you would talk to your best friend, your boyfriend, your husband, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever it is that you love. Think about how you talk to them and talk to yourself that same way. It sounds kind of crazy, but I do have pep talks with myself in the bathroom when I'm freaking out at work, because I work in an agency, right? So you have all these things flying at you all the time. You never have enough time. So I go to the washroom and I go, okay, April, relax. No one's gonna die today. They're not gonna buy that one thing. It's gonna be okay. So make sure that you understand that happiness is a choice and that you're worthy of it. Remember also that in this life, we're gonna go to one place and one place only, death. Sounds pretty morbid, I know. But remember, it's not about the destination. We're all gonna get there the same way, or we're gonna all get there anyways, but it's about the journey. So enjoy every second of it. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, when people are on their deathbed and they talk about what they miss most and what they're gonna miss most in life, it's not about those incredible moments, it's about those ordinary moments. It's about those moments that you have every single day. I remember they interviewed a man whose wife had passed away, and he had said, the things I'm gonna miss most about my wife is the way that she used to fold my clothes, fold my socks, made the bed. So enjoy every single moment of your every single day, because you never know what's gonna happen next. That's all I have. Thanks so much.